Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Biafran Golden Child, the real Biafran Golden Child. We are hearing about the games of Tinubu, the one they call Jagaban. We're hearing something. We are hearing cable, rumors that he is trying to dip his nose into the land and territory of Biafra. Fellow Biafrans, keep your eyes open. We are hearing news. Hence, I'm calling today upon our brother, a man who was there during the Biafran War as a child, a man who suffered kwashoko as a child, a man who saw his mother and sister kick the bucket during the Biafran War. Our brother, Biafra Golden Child, will speak directly to you Biafrans to understand the perspective of what is going on in that damnable Zoo Republic. Jagaban, be careful. Don't dip your toes, don't dip your hands into the land of Biafra. You've been warned. Stay clear the land of Biafra. You have been warned. Fellow Biafrans, without any much further ado, I present to you all the Biafran Golden Child. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're hearing my voice from. Yeah, this is the Biafra Golden Child, and super glad, mighty glad, to make your acquaintance this last day of March 2025. The March that seemed unending, the month of March that seemed so long, almost double any other month, is finally come to an end. I guess most of us are heaving a sigh of relief. So you're welcome. Yeah, fellow freedom lovers, dear friends, men of goodwill, women of goodwill. I say you're welcome to today's interaction audio. Yes, this audio today is we're going to talk about what the country we call Niger has become. We want to see what this country that our maximum reader, Mazen Namdekanu, once called a zoo, an animal farm. We want to see what this country has become. This country that was described as a former British Prime Minister as fantastically corrupt. We want to know the level it had descended. This country that was described as there was a country, there was once a country by our late legendary writer and prolific writer, novelist, Chinua Achebe, as there was a country. We want to see where it is going now, where it is headed. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know, in case you don't remember, let me bring you back to speed. During the February 2023 elections that heralded this administration of PBAT. PBAT is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. During that election, we saw a man who came out who vehemently insisted that it was his turn. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, "It was my turn. Emilio Khan. There's no vacancy. There's no dispute. It was my turn." A lot of people didn't understand what he was saying. A lot of people didn't seem to know or grasp where he was headed. But the man came up and said, "Listen, everyone, this February 2023 election is my turn. Emilio Khan, I am the Jagaban. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to derail me. It is my turn." Yeah, the Jagaban said, "I have put people there. I have installed presidents. I have installed governors. I have appointed previous leaders. But gentlemen, guess what? This time it is my turn. Emilio Khan, I'm the Jagaban, and I have spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people thought he was joking. A lot of people thought he was under the influence. They thought maybe he had taken some, bottles. Some said maybe the champagne is working. Others said maybe other substances are, afloat, taking possession of him. But he said, Emilio Khan, he said, I'm the Jagaban. And of course, it is my turn. I am the number one. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody really expected what will happen. Somehow, an election that we all saw what happened, a particular candidate, in fact, let me call it the Labour Party, was at the forefront, even when the so called electoral umpire, Mahmoud Jaga, was making, the accounts. We kept hearing Labour, 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 Labour. And all of a sudden, when what could have been transpired had transpired, when possibly Mahmoud had gotten the alert, of the foreign currencies it was promised, when possibly Mahmoud saw, the pictures of the houses that have been bought in the names of his children in choice areas of the world, when possibly he got the go ahead and said, look, the Emeloka has performed, the Jagaban has settled. Suddenly we started hearing labor, labor, and then, and then APC, 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 APC. I don't know if you feel what I'm feeling, but suddenly APC took over the air. Suddenly APC was at the forefront. Suddenly APC was winning. Suddenly areas that had been called, you know, a Labour Party uh, strongholds were suddenly, very suddenly turned into APC, APC, APC. Ladies and gentlemen, we thought it was a joke, but finally the umpire, the INEC, declared the winner. And of course, the February 2023 elections came to an end, and the leader and the winner emerged. It was the Jagaban. It was the man who said, it is my turn. It was Emilio Khan whose hand was raised, and he was inaugurated. He was inaugurated as president, de facto president of Niger. And he said it there. He looked at people, nobody was cheering, nobody was clapping for him. People were looking fallen, people were looking dejected, people were looking like, what is all this about? We had voted. Is this what we came to the sun to do? We have stayed in the sun, the rain. We withstood the sun and the rain. We stood in long queues. And what did we get? Is this that we got? That our votes have been torpedoed. Our candidate has been thrown into the dustbin. What are we seeing? Somebody else hand is raised up. Somebody is giving the return button. Somebody has been declared the president. People were dejected. People were disheartened. People were terribly embarrassed. People terribly embarrassed. People were shocked beyond their bones. Nobody expected this. Nobody expected this to happen. Nobody expected the man who said, Emilio Khan, it is my turn. Nobody expected him to get it. I mean, how come did he get it? Ladies and gentlemen, I make bold to say today that, of course, the man said, it is my turn. Emilio Khan, I have built leaders, I have built strong people in the past. This time is my turn. There ain't no going back to rate. Ladies and gentlemen, let's detour to 2025. Yes, a lot of permutations are going on. People are looking forward to 2027, the next election, just 2 years into the Emilio Khan dynasty, the Emilio Khan leadership. We have seen people coming out now and talking about 2027. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know, several people have come out to say 2027, the Emilio Khan man, the man who said is his turn, is equally going to be out there, is equally going to win. not just his own family, but even people from the southeast. David Umahi. David Umahi, the minister for works and housing, the minister who was a former senator, the minister who, was a two-time governor of Ebonyi State, has come out and told the Southeast. He told the Southeast, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you people from Southeast, you Biafrans, listen and listen clearly. If I were you, you better change your mind. You better take a new leaf and begin to support the Milocon right now. You begin to support the Jagaban right now. Because whether you like it or not, whether you like it or not, a Milocon is taking over. Nothing can stop him come 2027. So you better align with him. Namunne Ndebo, David Umai said, you better align with the Jagaban. That is nothing that can happen. Nothing can change it. Jagaban is coming for a second time. The Jagaban will be here 2027. The Jagaban is going to do a complete 8 years. So you in the East, it is your time now to align. Don't be cut off. Stop being in opposition. Stop being in opposition. Position will not take you anywhere. See what is done in the southeast is only the Jagaban that can bring changes to the southeast. It's only the Jagaban that can make meaningful development in the southeast. Look at the second Niger bridge. Look at the roads he's constructing. Look at the rails he's, uh, uh, planning to, develop in the southeast. This is your chance and only chance. Support the Jagaban, align with him, or you will be sorry. This is an able man, somebody who has a Biafra instruction here, telling his brothers, if you don't align, if you don't combine, if you don't recognize, if you don't support the Jagaban, the Milokon, you are finished. Ladies and gentlemen, as if it wasn't enough coming from a fellow Igbo man, his own son, Sheyi Tinubu, came out and they said, listen, Nigerians, you see a lot of politicians are coming out. They said they are forming new parties. They are aligning, trying to form a formidable opposition to my father. Let me tell you, nothing, nothing can stop my father from completing his 2 years, two tenures in Nigeria. Nothing will stop him from winning the 2027 elections. Nothing will stop my father. Not even God, not even divine intervention can stop him. Don't waste your time. There's no vacancy. No vacancy at Asorok. No vacancy in Abuja. My father will be there anyhow you want it. Or nothing can stop him. Not even God. Ladies and gentlemen, when I heard that, I remember the Titanic, when the Titanic was created, when the Titanic, the massive Titanic ship, when it was fully created, and they wanted to embark on the journey. Journalists asked the man who was in charge, they asked the people who owned the Titanic, how, how sure are you that the ship is as solid as rock. You say nothing can happen. You said the Titanic is foolproof, shockproof, sinkproof. You said it can never be affected by anything. Yes, the owner then said, listen, journalists. As far as the Titanic is concerned, it's going to be safe to forever. Nothing can affect it. Nothing can go wrong. Not even God, not even God can stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, we heard eventually what happened to the Titanic. We heard eventually how it sunk. And up to this date, several years after, several decades after, up to this age, the Titanic, the remains of the Titanic have not been fully recovered. And this was what was chanted. This was what was touted as never foolproof, accident proof, sink proof ship in the world, number one ship. So when Sheyi Tinubu said, nothing can stop my father from achieving his 8 years presidency of this country. Nothing can stop him, no matter how many politicians come together, no matter how many political parties form coalition. Not even God can stop him. My father is unstoppable. We thought it was all a joke. Ladies and gentlemen, what has happened in recent times has shown that yes, the man who said Emilio Kong, the man who said it is my turn, the Jagaban, PBAT, has evolved. He has come out in full fangs. He has come out in cool, clear colors. This time he has shown he is an emperor and Nigeria is his empire. How did he do this? He has started testing his powers, showing, testing his, undiluted powers, his superpowers, his superpowers. The man has seen, Emilio has seen that he can wield as much as any power in the world. He can say anything and achieve it, that he has powers beyond anything imaginable. Superpower. And the first thing he did was send a clear message to all governors, whether in the southeast, whether in the south, whether in the northeast, whether in the southwest, anywhere. He has shown them. I want to send a clear message to you that my powers are unlimited. I have the veto power. I can do and undo. I am the emperor. You know what he did? The first thing he did was to suspend the democratically elected governor for 6 months. The Jagaban woke up one morning and said, River State Governor Sim Fubara is here and his deputy are hereby suspended for the next 6 months. The lawmakers are hereby suspended for the 6 months. Everything about River State is hereby suspended for 6 months. I hereby declare a state of emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, people thought it was a joke. Everywhere there was a frenzy. This can never be. Nobody can support this. The Supreme Court, the judiciary must wake up, come to the aid of the masses. Nobody can support this. National Assembly should not accede to this. They should not support him. The State of Assembly should not support him. No way, this is an illegality. No way, this is the highest level of betrayal. No way, we're in a democracy. Nobody can suspend a sitting governor who was democratically elected. But of course, the Jagaban had said it. The emperor had proclaimed it. He had proclaimed it in his empire. The River State governor, his deputy, the lawmakers, everything about River State is suspended for the next 6 months. I hereby appoint a military zone administrator. And to the chagrin, to the disappointment of all Nigerians, including stakeholders in Port Harcourt, the National Assembly, the rubber stamp National Assembly, headed by his own crony, Akpabio. Akpabio, God's will Akpabio, the man who was sworn to take a bullet for the Jagaban, the man who knows that without the Jagaban, he would have been in jail now because of the monumental, you know, cases he has with the EFCC, with all the problems he has with Natasha, who accused him of sexual harassment. The man, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, knows that without the Jagaban, right now he would have been in a correctional facility. He would have been in jail, like a Mifele, the CBN governor, former CBN governor. He would have been rotting, running from this jail to that jail, today this court, that court. He would have been in a massive, terrible situation. It quickly told the House of Assembly, even if we don't get two-third majority, we must we must approve this declaration of state of emergency. We must approve the appointment of a military sole administrator. Of course, our emperor has spoken. Of course, we must show Nigerians that we recognize only the voice of our emperor. We recognize only the voice of our emperor. And so Nigerians were flabbergasted. Nigerians were disappointed. Nigerians were very humiliated. Nigerians could not believe it when the House of Assembly said, yes, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the power to declare a state of emergency. Since he has declared it, so it shall be. We give him our maximum support. And the House of Reps equally told the same line because they realize that the emperor has spoken and that the emperor has all the powers. The emperor is in charge of the empire. And if you don't support the emperor, if you don't obey the 48 laws of power, if you don't recognize the 48 laws of power that was very clearly and lucidly described by Robert Greene, if you don't obey the 48 laws of power, you are finished. I don't want to go back to my house. I don't want to be declared unfit to be a senator. I don't want to be declared unfit to be a House of Rep member. And so, of course, they supported the emperor, and the emperor succeeded in declaring a 6 months state of emergency in a democratically elected government in Port Harcourt. He wielded the highest stake, throwing away the baby with the bathwater. That was a very, very sure way of proclaiming himself an emperor. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you have not read the handwriting on the wall, Emilio Khan has become an emperor. Nigeria has become his dynasty, his empire. And let me tell you this, he has sent a clear message to all the governors, especially in the southeast, those who don't belong to his party, those who are still thinking they can support any other person. He has made it clear to them. He has made it clear to Soludo, Professor Soludo. He has made it clear to Governor Oti of Abia State. He has made it clear to Francis Mwifu, Ebonyi State. He has made it clear to Peter Mbao of Enugu. He has made it clear to Hope Uzodinma, of course, who is his crony, who is his boy. Alhaji Hope Uzodinma, Emir Hope Uzodinma, and and the emperor, of course. They share the same kit and kin. They are both in the empire together. Because even that war, even the Hope has turned Imo State, first of all, to his, he's a feudal lord in Imo State. And Imo State is just one of his, conquered, conquered states, conquered empire. Yes. The message has been sent to these governors in the southeast, sent to the man in Cross River, sent to the man in Delta State. Listen and listen clearly. What I did in Port Harcourt, what I did in River State is clearly, simply a tip of the iceberg. I want you all to know that I have what it takes. I have the power to declare of a state of emergency anywhere I want. If you don't toe the line, if you don't fall into place, I, the Jagaba, Emilio Khan, I assure you, I will not only declare a state of emergency in your states, I will make sure you don't ever return to that office. I assure you I have the power. I have the National Assembly, I have the State Assembly, I have the judiciary. The world is in my pocket. Nigeria is my entity. Nigeria is my dynasty. Nigeria is my empire. Willy nilly. You like it, you don't like it, you give it willingly, you don't want to give it willingly. I'm taking everywhere. I'm the Jagapan. Come 2027, I will be winning. I will be concluding another term. I must do an 8 year term in this country. And if I like, I can even extend. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a very sad one, but it is the truth. It is it is true truth, yes. It is sad, but this is what Nigeria has become. Nigeria has become an empire ruled by an emperor whose son, Seyi Tinubu, fully declared that nothing can stop my father from continuing as the president and ruling the 2 terms that he's entitled to. Nothing can stop him, not even God. David Umahi, Minister for Works and Housing, equally came out and said, listen, Southeast governor, listen indeed, why? I'm an Igbo man. Listen to me. If you don't align with the Jagaban, if you don't align with the emperor, you will be sorry. This is the only man that can bring sustainable development in the Southeast. is the one who is championing the second Niger Bridge. All other leaders were playing, lip service. Other leaders were playing double standard. But he has gone ahead and said, let it be done. If you don't stand with the emperor, with the Jagaban, if you don't stand with the Tsar in this Niger dynasty, you are sorry. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you now, the governors in the southeast are jittery. They may not tell you they are afraid. They are afraid because, of course, they know the powers that be with the emperor is not is not a child's play. A man who can wake up, you know, early hours of the morning, unilaterally declare a state of emergency in a river state that was not even intensely disturbed, a river state that no lives had been killed, a river state that people were just clamoring, talking about, the dissensions between the current governor and his ex-wife leader, the former governor, who is now an FCT minister. He is on Wike. It was a mere discussion, arguments going here and there. It was a mere dissension that had not dilapidated, that had not in any way exploded into what could be called tension, what could be warrant an emergency. But of course, the emperor declared an emergency. But have you asked yourself, ladies and gentlemen, in Benue State, there have been massive killings, kidnappings, killings on a daily basis. The Fulani herdsmen, the Metala people, the farmers. Every other day, farmers are being killed. Every other day, people are being kidnapped. Blood is on the ground on a daily basis, soaking their ground. Arable ground for farming has been turned to, bloodletting. No state of emergency was declared or has been declared. What of in Enugu State, where people were killed, massively killed by unknown gunmen, herdsmen, Fulani herdsmen? What has happened? Nobody has declared an state of emergency. What of in a Ebonyi State, where a complete community was raised with fire, which was people were killed, pregnant people were dissected, ladies were raped, women were raped, massively raped, multiply raped multiple times. Farms were destroyed, shops were destroyed, houses were destroyed. Nobody declared a state of emergency. Nobody said anything. What we heard from Governor Wayful was that this thing was done by unknown people, even when it became obvious, even when there were evidences that this were done by Fulani herdsmen who came because they thought they had the powers that be behind them. No state of emergency was declared. Recently, we are hearing about the Uromi crisis, the Uromi killing. Yes, people who claim to be farmers, northern elements who claim to be farmers. We are carrying machete, we are carrying guns, AK-47. We are heavily armed, and they were passing through Romy, claiming to come from Port Harcourt, where they went for farming, for hunting. If you went for hunting, what animals have you killed? Or were you coming to hunt at Romy? And when they saw them, when the vigilante got them, said, no, these people are those who go to kill communities, burn down communities, destroy farms, destroy houses. We will not let them go. And yes, they were made unalive. They were made unalive. These people were deleted because they were heavily armed and they looked like they could foment trouble. They could unleash men. They could kill. They could destroy. So the vigilantes unalived them. All of a sudden, the whole Nigeria has become agog with frenzy, with the CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, coming out, Chief of Army Staff, coming out and saying all sort of things, sending the military, go there, fish out those people, no matter what is involved. All this attempt, why would the military send their people to go and fish out who killed marauders who were carrying guns, marauders who were carrying bombs, criminal elements, herdsmen who claim to be hunters, who were looking for innocent people to massacre? You now say the military should go. And you reminded people of the OT massacre. You reminded people of what happened in Abia State. He said, we must get them. Otherwise, they will be sorry. Fish them out. Otherwise, the community will be sorry. Uromi is a place, very, historical, community in Delta State. These are people who are known for farming, for peace loving, and all that. Instead of the government to send, the police and all that, help our delegation go and find out what has happened, what has transpired. Why have people descended? Why have things descended so low? Why is insecurity at this lowest ebb? What they are targeting now, ladies and gentlemen, before you know it, state of emergency will be declared at Uromi. And of course, a military sole administrator will be appointed. Because, of course, the emperor has spoken. And whatever the emperor says is law. It doesn't matter whether he comes out dancing naked. It doesn't matter whether he comes looking like a clown. Of course, every subject must praise the emperor. When it comes, every head must bow. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Biafrans, we are in trouble. The Southeast is in trouble because the emperor has spoken. He is going to take everything. If you don't align with me, if you don't support me in my bid for 2027, if you don't give me the leeway to do my 2 years, I will declare state of emergency in every part of the Southeast. I will make Nigeria solely administered. Any place that is not APC, any state that is not where I want it to be, will be declared a state of emergency and ruled by who I appoint. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this morning. It might look like a joke. This is a serious affair. We are in deep shock. We are in deep problems. We are between a rock and a very hard thing. We are between the devil and the deep blue sea. Niger has been taken. Take it or leave it. It has been taken. It has been conquered by the emperor, the Tsar, and the person of Emiloko, Emperor BAT, Olame Tinubu, has taken over Niger, and Niger is his empire. Nothing can be done about it. Even the sun says, not even God can stop my father. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Let us pray. This is a clarion call for all of us to pray. Nothing is beyond God. Nothing is beyond Yahweh. Nothing is beyond God. There could still be a redemption. Nothing is above God. We have seen those who said, not even God can stop them. The Titanic said it, and they were sorry. It went into oblivion. All those who said, even God cannot stop me, became terribly, terribly humiliated at the end. I don't need to mention names, but Omilokon, the emperor of Niger, who has turned Niger into his empire, you better watch it. You are not the only person here. We have people who are praying. We have people who are still very much alive to prayer and to sincerity, to fairness, to equity and justice. You have got the judiciary, you have got the executive, of course you have the legislator in your armpit. But of course, Yahweh, God has the final say. Ladies and gentlemen, that be it this morning. I hope you make some meanings out of what I've said. I look forward to further communication with you. Once again, this is the Biafra Golden Child, and we have said at every point in time, we are going to keep you abreast of what's happening in Biafra land. We thought this threat coming from none other than the Emperor himself must be fully articulated and brought to the view of every Biafran. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it there. Wish our United States of Biafra well. Wish our Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ngozi Arewa, well. Wish our Mazimum leader, Mazin Nandekanu, a speedy and fair trial. And of course, our able Prime Minister, we miss him, but we know he's in good hands. He's in a country where, the rule of law is vehemently maintained, where the rights and privileges of everybody is respected, even though he's incarceration. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it there. God bless you all. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Yeah, check me out. Superstars Media. Lord Logan, Bloomington, Lord Logan, and it's wild flora show. 1914 amalgamation is what we dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation, ever since annihilation. Nepotism is nonsense. You and you, clap your hand, clap your hands. Biafra gonna come, clap your hand, clap your hands. Biafra, Odudua, we're free now. Freedom is gonna come, we're free now. Yeah.